love the music. Hello, everybody. This is Paris Prokopis. I got to get this out of my face. I tried to start my show earlier, and for whatever reason, I couldn't go live. And, well, that's just the way things go. A lot of interesting things to talk about, and I do intend on having a special guest a little bit later on around 9:30ish. And everything. So let's see who's in there. Hey, Matt Platt, how you doing? Oceana's mini true. You'll have to clarify on that, what that is. But tonight I'm going to talk about Robert Reich and stuff like that. But before I begin, I want to talk about how, I don't know if you guys know the actress Francia Raisa or something like that. I don't know the correct pronunciation of her name. Raisa. She's an actress that apparently came into she was driving and ended up in the middle of a Trump parade, and she kind of freaked out, and she ended up going into tizzy. And let's get this in here. This is in the Washington Times. Oh, wrong article. I grabbed the wrong article. My apologies. I think I've got the right article. Let's go here. Nope. Let's switch. Stop sharing my screen. I got to share it again. You got to love technical difficulties. It's a live show, folks. So this is the best I could do. There it is. That's the one I want. I'm going to share my audio. But you got to see this video. So this is Francia Raisa, I think it's Raisa, becomes emotional as she talks about getting stuck in the middle of a Trump rally. This is her. She's kind of cute, but I don't know what she started. I don't know who she is, but you've got to see this video. I wonder if I can.
I was just on the 405 and I got stuck in that stupid Trump rally, and they boxed me in, and they're pointing at me and laughing at me, saying ha ha, and literally I crashed because they wouldn't let me out. I was trying to go around it, and they were all stopping and going. They boxed me in on the freeway. All I wanted to do was go around, and they were just being so violent. I could have crashed. It was so dangerous, and I just don't understand why that's the country that y'all are supposedly wanting right now. Really? That's what makes America great? That's up. I could have died right now. That was so dangerous. Pointing at me and laughing.
Think about this. Okay, I'm going to interrupt for a second. Okay, she could have died. The average Trump parade is going like 10 miles an hour. You know, how's she going to die in this? And they were laughing at her. Anyway, she'll continue here.
Laughing at a Mexican. Oh, God, that was really scary.
Okay, they're laughing at a Mexican because she's Mexican. They're laughing at her because she's Mexican. Does she not realize how many Latinos for Trump there are in this entire that are supporting President Trump? It's probably double what his support was last time around. This woman is nuts. She's cray cray. Anyway, let's continue. So you got to see this again. So I'm going to watch this again. I got to play this one more time. You got to see this. Okay. You gotta love it when they play the race card. It's like breathing to them. Seriously, it's breathing for them every time to bring the race card in. She's in a freaking traffic jam. If I'm not mistaken, that's down in California. You know, she gets stuck in traffic daily, if not hourly, in that place in the Los Angeles area. So seriously, it is hilarious watching these people freak out. She's just mad because it was a rally supporting Trump. That's all she is. She's just triggered. Um, it's just I have to crack up at this person. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about today, but I got wind of this video and I had to play it. This is how messed up these people who hate Trump really are. I mean, I understand about disagreeing with somebody, not wanting to vote for them because you don't agree what things they believe in or want laws they want to pass. But seriously, what is the issue here when you have people literally emotionally dying because Donald Trump is president? They just can't stand it. And it just cracks me up. I never got, I mean, I'm sure there were some people who felt that way about Obama as well, but I didn't, I didn't like the guy. I didn't like anything he stood for. So I was just a loyal opposition and that type of thing. So complained about the things that he did. And there was one or two rare occasions where he actually did something right. And I credited him for it. And it's not one of those things, if I were to run into the guy, okay, he used to be president. I'd say hi to him. I'd be cordial. Wouldn't say I never voted for you, but I'd respect the office that he held. That's just how I roll. Other people may not. More power to you. But today, I want to talk about this tweet that Robert Reich, he was formerly in the Clinton administration years ago. Robert Reich, whenever you hear Rush Limbaugh talk about him. But I'm going to put up this tweet that he let out yesterday, and I'll read it. When this nightmare is over, we need truth. We need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It would erase Trump's lies, comfort those who have been harmed by his hatefulness, and every official, politician, executive, and media mogul whose greed and cowardice enabled this catastrophe. Seriously, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We have one of those here in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. It's called the Diversity and Equity Commission. Started by that crackpot alderman that finally quit. But it's all this is the means of controlling what people say. Completely controlling what they say. And I've said this often on my show. It's a quote, which I believe might be from 1984. It could be wrong. Mac, maybe you can clarify this, but it's to control what people think, you begin with controlling what they say. And that's exactly what they're doing. So what's going to happen if Joe Biden wins? They're going to get this Truth and Reconciliation Commission to comfort those who need safe spaces. Oh my goodness. And then to go after, people who supported President Trump vocally. They're not going to go after a Rush Limbaugh. He's too rich and powerful. They're going to come after the likes of me. Seriously. I'll be sent to a re-education camp. You must believe as we do. You must believe as we do. And it's beyond any comprehension why somebody would even propose something like that. But that's what's happened. This is no longer your father's Democrat Party. this isn't even Bill Clinton's Democrat Party. I mean, regardless of his personal issues, with obviously being part of that whole pedophile thing with, where they were raping young girls and stuff like that. But before that came out, back when he was president, I'm talking 1982 or 1993 to the end of 2000, beginning of 2001, actually. And he was a president who signed into law welfare reform that was modeled after the Wisconsin welfare plan. He was also a pro death penalty, crime and punishment type of guy, so felt that there should be a death penalty, and stuff like that. So he wasn't, when you look at it legislatively, in his last 6 years, he was actually more middle of the road because he had to be, because of the Republican controlled Congress at that point. He tried to cram national health or socialized medicine down our throats, and that got hit badly, and it never saw the light of day. They called it Hillary Care back in the day. So are we coming to that point where we're going to be in a society where people are not allowed to have an opinion about something? So I sent my guest a link. Hopefully, come on. In the meantime, I'll talk about a couple other things on here. Hey guys, what do you think? Oh, I have to talk about this whole Hunter Biden thing. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to sit and celebrate. Orlando, I sent you a link. I'm not going to sit and celebrate the downfall of an individual who has succumbed to the evils of drug use. However, he may actually have saved us from his father, because now all this stuff is coming out about all the things that his father did. The thing that they impeached President Trump over, the so-called Ukrainian scandal, when there was no scandal. It truly was a perfect call. Trump didn't say anything or do anything wrong. They accused him of quid pro quo when it was Joe Biden who did it, all for the benefit of his son. And how much has Joe Biden profited from this? So as president, he can't profit directly from it, but he is basically laundering money through his son. Can you imagine if this was Eric Trump or Ivanka Trump? It would be 24/7 dusk to dawn coverage all the time. It all the time. He would be vilified by the media, but no, because this is Biden. We don't want the story to come out. You all heard about the New York Post story that outed it, where Twitter literally banned it. They banned an article from, I think it is the oldest newspaper in the country, or one of the oldest newspapers in the country. Seriously, banned it, that article, because it painted Hunter Biden badly, probably. They said it was unsubstantiated. Hello, they were all over the place posting stuff about the dossier that was unsubstantiated. I think this is pretty well substantiated, especially now since we have the hard drive. And what is it about these stupid idiots and their hard drives? It just baffles me. That's how we found out about Hillary, because of a hard drive of Anthony Weiner's wife's computer, whatever her name was. Oh man, it's always fun, but just in time for the next debate. So that's going to be nice. And if we do not get out there and bust our asses to make sure Donald Trump gets reelected, everything's going to change. And the reason why I bring up Hunter Biden, obviously it's newsworthy, but what we were talking about before, they're going to have tribunals and stuff like that. And I'm not exaggerating at all. There will be the concept of a re-education camp because they do it in employers now. Every employer's got to have a diversity and inclusion coordinator. Every school system has to have a diversity and inclusion HR manager. And it's quotas. It's another fancy word for quotas. So I'm going to start sharing some comments. Wait for tomorrow's news on. Yep. We're going to have a lot more stuff. Orlando, I private messaged it to you. I can't. I'll try to email it to you. But this is some crazy stuff. And I'm going to bring on, let's see what other comments I have here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to email to Orlando. So, yep. They want the USA to be Oceania's mini true. In 1984, they had the country called Oceania. The Ministry of Truth. That's exactly what it's going to be. And no, this is not a big glass of wine. It's just cran grape juice. I'm boring. What can I say? She was talking about the drama queen earlier. I had to share that video. I might share it again just for the fun of it. She reminds me of the one, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Ah. Okay. Anyway, I can't repeat that. Yes, Jim, people like us would get rounded up because we're in the media. We're, according to them, spewing hate. And I hope I sound okay tonight because I don't have my soundproofing up. So I'm probably coming across with a little bit of an echo, but maybe it makes me sound a little more dreamy, or I can get up close and personal. Love songs on WMYX. So a friend of mine sent me a meme today, and it was like, how Republicans deny people their right to vote. They require citizenship. They require identification. Must not vote more than once. And you must be alive. You know, that is such a horrible thing. So, but speaking of voting, something that has changed a lot recently is the fact that in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Republicans are finally, they had changes in leadership were a good thing, and there need to be some more changes in leadership along the way, but that's a whole nother conversation. But we'll take what we can get. Every little bit matters. Because there was always this way of thinking. And I've been arguing with this for 10, 15 years. Yes, I'm aging myself, but I've been arguing with people, telling them Republicans need to engage with the Black community. Republicans need to engage in the Hispanic community. And there was this attitude. It's like, why bother? Because 95% of them vote for Democrats. Why bother? Well, imagine changing it from 95% to 91%. That could translate into thousands of votes. But now we have some, and there is some of that where we've had very few Black candidates step up because of the amount of scrutiny they get for campaigning as a Republican, because they're treated horribly. They're vilified, like they're not allowed to have their own mind. And one of those is a gentleman by the name of Orlando Owens here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I see him in the green room. He's waving at me. I'm going to make faces at him. No, and he can't do anything till I bring him on. So, but I'm going to bring Orlando on. He's got some interesting stuff that's happening now, and he's running for state assembly in, he'll have to tell me which district again, I forget. Orlando.
The 11th.
There you go. I can hear you. In the 11th assembly district, right in Milwaukee, in north-ish side.
Yep, northwest side.
Yeah. Who was the person that was in that seat before?
Jason Fields.
Jason Fields. Oh yeah. So he's going to another role, and now this is an open seat. So you have So you have a good chance here. So tell me a little bit about what's going on, or introduce yourself. Tell the people about yourself.
So thank you for letting me come on, Brother Paris. Can you hear me? You hear me at all? I'm sorry. Did I lose you already?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me come on.
Yeah.
I just left David. I just left David King's show. He told me to let you know you are the friend of the show and the Godfather. So I just left his broadcast. So I feel like I'm important or something. Like I'm doing one show to another show. Like, oh, this is how it feels to do the Sunday shows, do the Tuesday shows.
Yeah. Although I'm not going to pay you, man.
Hey, and I'm not going to be that good either. So. We're running for the 11th Assembly District, man, right here in northwest side of Milwaukee. Got a couple of days left of the election. We're going as best we can. There are definitely some things that I am enjoying myself. I'm very tired. You might see that in some of my Facebook posts because I have very little patience for nonsense. But we're in this thing against a young lady who we'll dive deeper into that. But I'm running, and I'm running strong, and I'm praying that we will get the victory. It's going to be very close.
Well, good. I like that. And close is all right. It makes everybody work harder. That's what I like about it. I hate having safe seats. That bugs the heck out of me.
Well, my opponent believes it's very safe, so much safe that she doesn't even have to come to the NAACP debate. She feels very safe. She don't have to work at all for the black vote.
Yeah, tell me about that. That made news today. Mark Belling was talking a little bit about it today too.
I gotta go back and play that. So I got like 3 or 4 calls about that that it was on. So I gotta go check that out. So the NAACP, the oldest, most prestigious civil rights organization, stands for the National Advancement of Colored People, and the called a forum debate and invited all of the incumbents on the north side of Milwaukee by the political director, Chris Johnson, who is the author, which you already know, Paris. He's the creator of Kingfish. Kingfish is a investigatorial news outlet that does a lot of holding feet to the fire, a lot of elected officials, both Republican, Democrat, and Independent. And they organized this debate forum and invited the candidates to come out. The candidates felt some type of way. Congresswoman Gwen Moore drafted a letter responding to the NAACP's request or invitation to attend. Gwen Moore, her son Amakunde Moore, my opponent Dora Drake, sitting Senator LaTanya Johnson, Kaylin Hayward, all declined for I would say small potato issues. There were 2 Democrats that did confirm. One is a write-in, Michelle Bryant, running for the Senate seat, also against LaTanya Johnson and our friend Cairo Deacon, whom I'm pulling for, and also sitting state representative Lakeisha Myers. She did confirm, and we had 2 independents who confirmed. And they wrote this letter to the NAACP that's floating out there. You can find it, Paris. You come across it. It gives 4 reasons why they had decided to pass. One of them was that COVID was an issue. The second one was, go ahead. The biggest issue was that Christopher Johnson, who is a business person, consultant, multiple business he owns, did some work on my campaign with creating a voter database for me. And they felt somehow that would create a biased situation. Chris Johnson is only the political director of a volunteer position. All the positions. I am a member of the NAACP myself, and former member of the Urban League. I see my friend Jim, good guy, Wisconsin right now. I like him a lot. Who did the article that went crazy. And so just one really ridiculous reason after the other for not debating the most prestigious African American organization we have around the issue of civil rights. And I think Belling, I got to hear what he said. But I know what I said to Jessica. Shout out to Jessica McBride over at Wisconsin Right Now. Great publication. I'm a fan. And Jim, who said hello. They're doing some great work. They came and they really looked at this thing and said, you know what, this is odd that this is happening. And she wrote a very fact-based piece, not opinion, fact-based, and it went crazy. She posted it. We got it out to the outlets. The state party decided to do a press release today. There will be a press conference tomorrow, so hopefully, Paris, you can come and cover it as well too. We want people to know, like, this is what's going on in Milwaukee. That, one of the quotes I put in there: if Black lives matter, so should Black voices. So how in the world can we say we want changes and we want your vote, but we don't believe we got to come to the NAACP to do it? My opponent, in particular, has gone over to the, I've debated her with the good people at Glendale. My question is, what's wrong with the good people of Milwaukee?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So she went to Glendale, but she wouldn't go over to Milwaukee. Well, and what they don't want to do is, and I think this comes down to giving Republicans of color, so to speak, credibility by joining the NAACP debate. If it was just them, they would go. But the fact is, you think for yourself, you're not part of the cult. What I was talking about earlier. That's why this is a perfect segue. To control what people think, you control what they say. Well, this is what they're doing to you. They're silencing you. They're taking away your ability to say anything because you dare to think differently. You're not part of the tribe, so to speak, this tribal mentality that, our side has it too. Let's not be right. Let's be real. But like people like me, I welcome other thought. If I have a debate with somebody like let's say a libertarian Republican or even a evangelical Republican too, I'm kind of a different flavor. And we're allowed to think differently. They encourage it.
It's democracy, right? And right. We should try to never, if this isn't voter suppression, I don't know what is. Mm-hmm. That you're trying to stop the voices of other candidates from the people because you feel that you shouldn't have to. And I think once you read Jim's article, there's some interesting threads in this whole thing, from my opponent being, sponsored and backed by Republican money, that is criticizing me for being a Republican, who she received thousands of dollars from school choice movement through another organization called with Sherwin Hughes, called Leaders for a Better Tomorrow. Dark money, and that doesn't want to come out. Chris Johnson did some work for me on my database, but has written about these things, in detail of all the strings of Democratic money from Nation Consultant, Session Chetta. Some of these names. That how this machine works and how this letter even started, how we even got to this point, that these people didn't even believe to even honor the position of the NAACP to present your ideas. Because what I've heard, my opponent feels like there's no need to debate because the outcome is already done.
And that they couldn't be any more wrong. Well, I'm getting an echo in there. Turn down your volume a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, it messes with the voices in my head, so all right. So I gotta ask you, obviously knowing the type of attitude that would be facing you, why subject yourself to that? What made you want to run? What made you decide, forget it, I'm running?
Man, I ran for office before, over 15 years ago. And when I moved out here in this area, I've been in and out of this district most of my life. I'm part of that whole book of eviction. I went through eviction as a youth. I'm from Milwaukee. I've lived in poverty. And so I understood a lot of the district because I've been in and out of it most of my life. And when I first moved in, my wife and I'm a proud husband, proud father, humble husband. We bought a house. And one of the first places I reached out to was Jason Fields. I've been knowing Jason since high school. Him and I played in the same AAU team. And I asked the question to him. I said, Jay, do you think this district could ever be, flipped to be Republican? He was like, nah. Well, he said, no, he said, maybe, just not now. And probably maybe 2 months later, Jason makes the announcement he's running for city comptroller. And at that moment, I'm like, hey, I think I may need to look at this. And I called Jason back and I told him, I said, Jason, I think I want to look at it. He was like, you should. And, and that's part of the issue that I was kind of surprised later on that he endorsed my opponent, Dor Drake, with very little experience. And it kind of came as a surprise. Even in the primary opponent, you know her, Tamika Vukovic over in Glendale, when the first Black alderwoman, council member, and also school board member there lost, and primarily due to the bankrolling and to little awareness of Republican conservative money given to a Democrat. Jason Fields has been that part. He's been part of that wing that the Democrats didn't like him at all because he was too close and too cozy to Republicans. But bankrolled her campaign basically to the tune of anywhere between $25,000 to $30,000 in the primary, and pushed her through. And I'm criticized for being a Republican, like I said, but she's getting money from Republicans, and the people need to know that. And so,
slow down. I got to get my head around this.
Okay.
So your Democrat opponent is getting Republican money,
and Republicans don't know it.
Okay, you've got to clarify this. Tell me more. I mean, it's just wow.
So one of
just
the
curious. Just curious. Hold on a second. Do you know some of the Republicans that are doing this? Are they never Trumpers by chance?
You know what? I don't know where they are. I think these people are school choice advocates. And it gives to an organization called Children's Federation, which is also a school choice advocate. And they go out and school choice advocates ran by, or the political director is one of our own, Scott Jensen, the former speaker. And I confronted Jensen about this, confronted him and told him, what are you doing, meddling in my race? Because this is bothering me. And he told me, you're not supposed to win, Orlando. The district is 70-30. You're not supposed to win. And so we are putting money behind your opponent because she's going to be more favorable to school choice. Now, once again, I'm not new to this. I've been on the block.
You've been an advocate forever for that.
Listen, man, Republicans have such a lead in the assembly. One vote is not going to make or break the discussion of school choice.
Yeah.
So once again, miss me with that, Scott. You can't fool me. I've been part of the organization of the Republican Party for too long to know who you're trying to fool. Because that's ridiculous to say, well, she's going to be more favorable to school choice. And so they funneled money from Children's Federation over to Sherwin Hughes, who's a longtime Democratic operative, who's a supporter of school choice, and to his organization called Leaders for a Better Tomorrow, who in turn gave money and bankroll as far as flyers, mailers, YouTube commercials, the dark money hustle. And it's ridiculous. And the more Republicans I told, we were all very upset with Scott Jensen. Scott Jensen is still on my list.
That is, I mean, this is beyond perplexing. It's not your time. It's not your turn. You're not supposed to win. It's that type of thinking that gets us these people to stay in office for generations.
Well, let's call it for what it is. I was begging the same Republicans for money while they was giving money to Scott Jensen to run against a Republican.
Wow. So what's Scott Jensen's beef? That's fascinating because he's involved with school choice, right?
Children's Federation is a school choice advocacy group, and
Yeah.
they also play in political races. And been doing it.
Wow.
You go back, and Jim can know that. I see Jim is in and out. You can go back, look at Kingfish, the Journal Sentinel, Wisconsin. I want to say I forget the name of the Wisconsin publication out of Madison. You can dig up this 4 or 5 articles that Scott just been doing this with Jason Fields' campaign since the early the mid 90s when Jason was running, and bankroll his campaign all the time. That's why Jason Fields is not a beloved Democrat, because he's too close to Republicans. And we bankrolled his campaign. And for what did we get for that vote? We never got a single new Democratic voter as far as in the legislature to support Republicans. We never got anything. So over a 10-year span, Republicans have given Jason Fields indirectly hundreds and thousands of dollars to bankroll his campaigns. And all he did was just pass it on to Dora Drake.
Wow.
In place, just go get the car. The keys are already in the nation. All you gotta do is put it in drive. And so I brought this up, and Republicans know what's inside. I talked to donors about this. They were all shocked, and this is news to you. I see your face.
So they're basically looking for a puppet they can control. And the fact, but the fact is, like I said, you've been involved in the Republican world for a while, and you've always advocated for school choice, as far as I remember.
Yep. And I'm not against public schools or anything like that. I just believe parents should have an option to do whatever. And to your point, I told Scott Jensen that I'm not someone you didn't know about, like, oh, we didn't know you were in the race. You can't run it. You know who I am. I'm not trying to, toot my own horn, but this dude, I've confronted. Scott Jensen was at a Republican retreat, and I confronted him after me talking to his chief, to the executive director of the organization, Justin Morales. Confronted him with his other lout, Calvin Lee, longtime union hack, became school choice advocate through Jason Fields after he lost his job working for the union. I confronted them at this year's retreat, the state party retreat. I confronted Morales and told him that you're garbage for what you're doing. And I finally got to see Scott Jensen in person at the RAC convention, and I told him to his face that you're garbage for what you're doing. And so it all leads to where we are right now. I see you scrolling up the article. Yep. If you go back and look at another article that Kingfish wrote, that he wrote that for the first time ever, the 11th Assembly District will be represented by one Republican or another Republican, inferring to all the Republican money that Dora Drake took, and on her behalf didn't want to say that she took all this money and didn't have a problem where it came from, but can come out openly and say she doesn't support school choice and can blast me for being a Republican.
Wow.
And so this is where we are. We fast forward to the debate. The controversy, Gwen Moore writes a letter, and also there's a caveat in there. There's a kind of a tasty caveat that I don't want to touch too much, but there is a mention of one former county executive in the article also.
That would be one Chris Sabley, right?
Who, I guess, Daddy Warbucks wants to tell the black organization how to spend how they should operate up to his white standard.
Oh, check this out. This is an interesting point. They don't want you to go in there to debate because they know they can't win against you, because their arguments especially over the past 2 years, they call every Republican racist. They can't call you a racist or white supremacist, so they have no argument against you any other way. So why bother fighting you?
They don't also want to talk about their record, right? It's a failed record. The Republicans run it. So I was on 860 today, and I'll be on 860 tomorrow because the Republican Party, we have a radio slot that comes on, and comes on 3 times a week. And I was on one of the shows today. Wasn't one of the Republican shows, but it was another show. And I called it out for what it is. I called it out that's saying that, if you're saying that Republicans run it and they have the majority, all of the Democrat opponents always say this, they all say the same thing. I can work across the aisle to get things done. How in the world can you get a better deal from Milwaukee than me? I'm in the Republican organization. So then we had callers coming in and said, well, Orlando, these Republicans hate Milwaukee. They're this, they're that. They won't do anything. And my response to them was this. Well, if you think I can't get a better deal from Milwaukee as a Republican, how do you think my opponent, Dora Drake, is going to get one as a Democrat?
Yeah, she won't get very far at all. I mean, now, in a perfect world, we want everybody to, okay, you're done campaigning, now go work on some problems. But that's not the reality of it. The reality is there's two camps. And you're more likely to be able to get something done with the Republican Party because they'll listen to you and everything else, versus just being one of 50 in the assembly.
When I do doors, and I've been doing doors a long time now, and people, first things first, I don't get into the national debate. That's going to handle itself. I know where I am on the national debate, but I tell people I'm running locally, and when they understand that they don't have to vote straight party, they say, okay, you have me there. And then when I tell them, you do know Republicans have the majority, and whoever has the majority in Madison control the money for the city of Milwaukee, the budget, and control policy. So if you want to see, criminal justice reform, if you want to see lead laterals repaired, if you want to see Lincoln Hills closed down, if you want to see more funding for public schools, if you want to see any of these things get done for the city of Milwaukee, who do you think got the best chance of getting if the Republicans have it? And I tell people this. It's just like playing spades or playing cards or playing dominoes. I just got the hand. Whoever got the hand, run the table.
That makes absolute sense. Well, so now that they've been outed, do you think there's going to be a chance for a forum or debate, or is that too late for that?
I don't know. It could be something they pull out, in the last minute to show up, because right now the format is more of a town hall format that is not so much, person, going point by point. We all get about 15 minutes apiece, and there's going to be a panel from Gerard Randall, a longtime Republican. I call him the godfather of Black Republicans. He's one of the moderators, and also Earl Ingram from the left. He's going to be there, and they're going to be asking a series of questions. So each candidate have about 15, 16 minutes, and it'll be more of a town hall forum instead of a head up debate. And I don't know, for me, it's about getting our messages out there. And tomorrow will be a press conference, and you'll see, if you've been around, like you just said, Paris, even amongst Black Republicans, we all have our own agenda. We all have our own platform on how we see and view things. I tell people all the time, the R for me stands for reforms. I get people, and I'm just going to say this on your show. We're friends, and I'm going to say it. I had Republicans say, well, Orlando, I got a problem with that fist you got in your logo. It's the socialist fist. It's the union fist. I said, well, what else you don't understand is also a Black pride fist, the Black struggle fist for us Black people. So nobody has a copyright on what the fist means. If you want to say me socialist, hey, that's for you. I know for me and my people that came to this country, that is a symbol of us understanding the struggle. That we'll never forget the struggle in this. America's not perfect. She's come a long way, but she's not perfect. And so even Republicans are calling me, and even, what is that socialist fist? That's a Marxist. I say, hey, that's what it means to you. That's not what it means to me. Why don't you ask me what it means before you tell me what it means to me?
You mean like I did? I asked you about it.
Exactly.
Yep. But that's just how I roll, though. I like to get in someone's head and understand why.
We have some things to do locally, because as I don't know if I told you, but I'm also the chair of the Milwaukee North Branch, and my term is almost up. There's some things that were revealed during this race, that we as Republicans, we have to understand, and maybe it's because we never really had Black Republicans or Republicans, period, running in southeastern Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, that we have to understand what is a national campaign and what is a local campaign, and that you can run a red meat Republican from Waukesha in the Milwaukee. Those two won't fit in. Representative races are people that reflect the district, the values. We've had in this field, and Rebecca Playfish did a great job of recruiting. We have, let me just be clear, I won't call nobody's name, but we've had pro marijuana Republicans. We have I don't care about who you sleep with Republicans. We have some never Trumper Republicans. We have union Republicans, because we all reflect where we live and where we come from. We reflect the districts that we represent, and that's what's going on. And I think as volunteers, we have to understand that some of us, we're in like a stronghold, and we can't, my main point is this. We need to understand how local races are ran. Like, your local representative may not have the same message as a national campaign. He may not even have, or she may not even have the same message of a statewide campaign. They're going to spend the issues right here.
Yeah, I remember there was another assembly candidate that was being interviewed on WNOV, as a matter of fact, Kinezer's show. And she was asked by one of the callers, well, what's your opinion about President Trump trying to push through a Supreme Court justice and stuff like that? She's like, I'm running for a state office. That has nothing to do with us here at this point, Mm-hmm. And her answer was, well, someone's in charge and they have the requirement to fill that seat. They filled the seat, and she moved on from it. But she handled it well. It's like, this is a state race. There's different things that they say, just like there's different things with an alderman.
Exactly.
And that's
I think, and so this is the autopsy after this race. It's going to take a lot of us to come together and look at, how do we run local races? How do we volunteer? How do we fundraise for local races? Mm-hmm. How do we find, and what are those issues locally? And I think my race really reveals some things, like a lot of our volunteers who are in the city, we're not ready to run a local person as if, I guess some of us want to live in Waukesha, but we live in Milwaukee. And I'm like, that person in Waukesha cannot run in the heart of Milwaukee. That's not going to fly. That's not going to fly. Now, you want somebody just to run for the sake of running, or you want someone to run like me? I'm running to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not just be the next sacrificial lamb kind of thing.
Right, and Rebecca, and let me be clear. Speaker Voss said this. We've had these conference calls every week of the campaign, and he said it. He said your first priority is to represent your district. That's what you need to do. You need to know and be in tune and hear the needs of the people. Forget a party line. He was very clear. He's like, if you don't get the people on, and hear what they have to say, you won't get to Madison.
Right. And you have to approach politics with a degree of pragmatism. It depends on the situation. It's like all the protesting, policing and police violence and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I don't agree with lumping every single cop into the bad cop category, but there are situations and we need to look at it. We should have that discussion. Obviously, you can't have a civil discussion when there's all that noise around, but right. I'm open to having a discussion. I think there should be crime reform. I think if somebody goes to Mayfair Mall and steals a leather jacket from Berman's or whatever the leather store is in there, and they're 17, 18 years old, damn it, that's on their record for the rest of their lives. Give them a chance to work that off so they can get it removed. Because, like it or not, that person has a record. People discriminate against people with a record. It happens. Sure. It's not supposed to happen, but it's the reality of it. So if they can do it, and the thing that gave me this idea, my daughter had gotten a speeding ticket once. No, she got in an accident, a month after she got her license. Go figure. Thanks. she rear-ended someone. She went in front of the judge and, he asked a bunch of questions. Are you a good student? So why don't we do this? So he punished her because he told her for the next 90 days, you cannot drive anybody in your car unless it's a family member, like a brother or sister, and you can only drive to school or to work and nothing else. So if you keep your nose clean for 90 days without getting another violation, we'll just dismiss the ticket. So he made her earn it over time, and she got some punishment out of it, and there was still a fine and all that stuff. But we need more proactive stuff like that.
There's some creativity that we can do. We understand the Breonna Taylor situation. Like how do we do abstractions from apartment complexes? Clearly, what happened in there with Breonna Taylor shouldn't have happened. And how we went into an apartment complex to extract someone out. Like we put officers in danger. We put other people around that complex in danger. Like maybe we should look at how do we get, how do we do warrant, apprehension again? So I'm not saying that there's not situations in which persons do things and like you going to jail or whatever. But we can look at things better. Like the Breonna Taylor thing, like no knock warrants. I don't know how safe they are. I don't know how useful they are. Like, is there another way to apprehend somebody? Let's have a discussion about this thing.
Let's talk about it. Let's get more creative. Can we come up with more? Even you have President Trump. He's probably the first president that's talked about this. Let's come up with more less than lethal ideas. Because the city of Milwaukee knee-jerk reaction, no more tear gas. Okay, you take away less than lethal options. What do you think the next option is?
You're right. You leave no choice. And let's be clear what's going on in the city of Milwaukee, which you probably already covered, Paris. Came out in the news today. We are quickly approaching 1991 murder rate levels in Milwaukee. And we still think, well, we're going to send the same people back to Madison. Orlando's a Republican. Okay, but we're hovering at the 91 record for most homicides in a year.
Well, that's there's an old cliche. I used to have a friend of mine who would say that. He goes, the idle mind is the devil's playground. Corona did this, a lot of it. People were sitting idle, not working, not getting interacting. The solution to the virus was more deadly than the virus itself.
Yep.
And that's what led to all this extra violence. I mean, obviously there's stuff being stirred. There's people out there stirring the pot.
Well, I'll say this, and I know we can move to your next question. But I look forward to having my forum at the NAACP. And I think what the big thing is, quite honestly, Paris, in the end, Democrats really can't defend their record. And they're afraid of the platform that the NAACP will give us will cause people to have a question. Because even when I was on NOV today, I had at least 2 to 3 independents who called in. And they was like, Orlando, I get it. You make sense. You got the votes. And a lot of people didn't get that. And the more people I told that when I went on doors say, that makes sense, Orlando. I may not like you that much because you're a Republican, but if you got the best chance to get stuff done, I may have to give you my vote.
That's why I vote for the person. I was a fan of David Clark as sheriff. He's a Democrat. I support him. I dare admit it. In 1996, I voted for Clinton. I just couldn't stomach Bob Dole. I couldn't stomach Bob Dole. I just couldn't.
Well, one of those things people say, there's what my opponent's been using in Sherwin Hughes' machine. They use a picture of me wearing a black Trump hat. I said, oh, at least it's black, but okay. And they use that against me. They're trying to, whip up this, whatever. But I also politely let people know I did vote for Barack Obama in the first term. Didn't do it the second, but I gave him a shot. So I voted for Democrats before. So while you're trying to criticize me for voting for a Republican, I voted for Linda Taylor. I voted for David Crowley as county executive over Chris Larson. So if we're going to have an honest discussion, and I hear so much, and I think some people are posting how Republican are racist. And what I would say this, there's racists in the world, in the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. White racism, white supremacy is not just relegated to the Republican Party. And what so many people don't get, and I think people
goes both ways, though, too.
Want to talk about it. And I agree with you there that we should be this fair people. I think that I heard an ad today with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden around the issue of like criminal justice reform. Like we got a plan. I'm like, so Joe, you are the author of the 94 crime bill, And Kamala, you are the executor of the 94 crime bill, and y'all now have an epiphany on how to fix it. You guys were the ones making it work. You didn't fix it for 47 years, good old Joe. And Kamala, as long as you was in Cali, you was doing your thing. California. You wasn't changing nothing.
Yeah, so she can get cheap labor to make license plates and stuff like that in the prison system. How many black men were incarcerated because she had goals as to how many numbers she needed to come up with?
Well, I would like to see what was her criminal justice reform. What did you do as a prosecutor in California?
That's what I mean.
What did you change in California?
She changed nothing.
Did your murder rate go down? What did you do? So you said you all got all these ideas now. Like you got all the ideas in the world. Good old Joe, we're going to stop this. We're going to stop that. Well, Joe, it took you 47 years. You didn't do anything as a senator to stop it. You know, then your son gets privileges that if I was caught with a crack pipe, I wouldn't get treatment. I'm going to jail. And you did that for 47 years.
Let's be honest. If there were Eric Trump, there would be all kinds of shit too right now. They'd be all over the media. Oh my gosh. Carolina, really? That hurt. That really hurt.
14.
Oh, Carolina, you're so going to have to make that up to me. All right. So, but it's, one thing that you said kind of stood out to me. It's like, oh, you're Republican, but you're black, so it's okay. I don't give a crap that you're black. I want to know what you stand for, what right. You want to do. And that's, we got to get it. I saw the same thing when Michael Dukakis was running for president against George H.W. Bush. My family was like, you got to vote for the Greek. It's like, I'm not going to vote for the Greek, just because I'm Greek. It's so stupid. It's so superficial. And it goes back to, what, Martin Luther King fought for and died for. So we don't worry about the race. We worry about what you're going to do. And
let me be clear. I'm with you, Paris, but I'm also very aware of all the negatives since I was 17. But I'm very aware of the plight of the African Americans in this country. That I don't discount the character of a person's heart, but I also understand that there's some things going on that we have to address with inside of the Black community. And and that's so often people think like it's got to be this or that. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Like people are like, well, defund the police. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, take away their money and so that we can have more mental health counselors. I said, so we can't do both. We can't do both. We can't.
Here's a novel concept: mental health coverage for police officers, for crying out loud.
Or I mean, why do it have to be one or the other? Why do we have to decrease the police budget in order to get more mental health? And why do we have to? Can we not do both? Maybe if we have more people working, like in the Joseph Project, getting more people working, we have more money, discretionary spending that we can do more. How about that? Let's focus on why we can't, don't defund the police because we want more psychologists or psychiatrists doing it. Can we do both? Can we do both? Why don't we ask the taxpayers, can we do both? You might be surprised. If you can articulate a reason why, you may be surprised when people even this whole idea of, shared revenue, we need to get our fair share. I'm with that. Milwaukee need resources. I get that. And I think Milwaukee, we are a very caring people, that we will give money to another county that needs it. But let's have a discussion and let's also be aware of what the money we get and how it's being spent before we ask.
Amen, brother. That's it. There needs to be accountability. That's my biggest issue. Act 10, Scott Walker's banner legislation, signed it into law. Act 10 was supposed to do all these things because there were school spending cuts happening. And that was supposed to help the schools survive that. And then every budget after that, they kept adding to the education again. So what did we actually accomplish? Because by the time Evers got in there before his budget, we were already where it was before Scott Walker took office. And that was under Republican control.
Yep.
So, but we spent all that money and not a single dime was accounted for. That's the problem. It's, we've got City of Milwaukee has all these problems and we've got a freaking trolley still running around right now, empty.
Yeah. I think we just need more transparency and more accountability. And
Uh-huh.
I'll be one of the first people to say that dealing with a lot of issues that are around, mental health, systemic things like, healthy self-esteem. Um, there are some situations that finding a benchmark and how do we mark success may be very, very hard to identify. They still digging in on 94. So,
I don't know if you're talking about you or me. I don't know. Gotta love it.
Talking about you.
So,
I can't hide that, brother. I think you're talking about you.
well, I gotta. Yeah, I've got the good hair.
There you go. I just think we need, if we honestly felt like we're getting the investment and been able to articulate what is more hard to measure, right? Like we talk about the educational things, and someone has said like we give so much money to public schools, and I had to break it down to some of my conservative friends. I said, listen, man, in poor, impoverished neighborhoods, the public school is more than just a school. It's like the community center. It's where you get, health checks, food in some cases, showers. You get classes there, not just educational classes. So in more affluent communities, the school is purely an institution of education. That's all it is. It ain't open late. It ain't open early. It's just what it is. But in urban communities, the school itself is more than just an educational apparatus. It is daycare for some. It's a food program. So I think, but we need people like me who Republicans can trust and Democrats can respect and say, I can help bridge the gap. We can talk and say, okay, everything the Democrats saying is not wrong and not lying. Everything Republicans saying is not always 100% and not always true. But somewhere in the middle, we can have a healthy discussion and say, let's find a way in which, how do we get, accountability for what we spend, but also get, self-accountability for what parents should be doing and children have to be doing. And so I think we have more room to have reasonable discussions. And I think that's what's really unique about my campaign is that I have the political cachet in both camps.
Yeah. Well, something that we have to do, though, we also have to change the hearts and minds of people. I think the breakdown of the family structure, especially in urban areas, which I argue was by design.
Yeah.
1960s welfare programs and stuff like that. Yep. It was by design. And we need to start changing the hearts and minds. So part of it is, and I describe a lot of what's happening with the police departments around the country as a major PR problem. There's a perception that all, that the cops are the bad guys, they're the murderers. The cops are the ones with the guns, or there's cops and thugs with guns. It's like people are shocked that they can, what, you mean I can buy a gun to defend myself? I have a right to do that? They're like, all of a sudden this thing opens up in their mind, like they didn't know they could have a gun to defend themselves and stuff like that. So, I mean, Second Amendment is important there, but then we have to learn how to train people and stuff like that. But we need to get control. We need to get politicians, leaders, like real leaders who don't sit and tell you you're not going to amount to anything without our help, but who tell them that you can accomplish anything. And we need leaders who don't just care about campaigning on the issue, but actually solve the issue. They never, ever solve the issue. Crime's an issue. Crime's an issue. Every election cycle, crime's an issue. I'm going to fix crime. I'm going to fix crime. Well, when are you going to get around to doing it? It's like I think the politicians are afraid that if they lose the issue, then they're not going to have anything to campaign on.
Well, I mean, we are at a crossroads, man, from Corona to, like I said, today that was broke. We're on par to break the 93 record of I think 91, I think it was for murders. And I mean, that's where we are right now in our city, right? I've never seen so many panhandlers in my life, white and black. But I tell you, when I see a white boy, I said, them drugs are something bad, boy. Because I've never seen white people in my neighborhood like that in the middle, like the hood, panhandling at the middle of the intersection. I said, man, it's bad out here. It's bad, Paris. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm your brother. I'm your cousin. You know I love you. But it's rough out here, man. I ain't gonna lie. There ain't no jobs in the city that's paying guys worth, wage. So we look at, for me, when I look at our campaign, a lot of the issues for me rotate around the issue of employment and having great opportunities. When you have more money to actually take care of yourself and your family, there are a lot of things can happen. You can walk away from a dispute. If she don't want you no more, you ain't got to put your hands on her for her to stay, because you can find you another woman. If he don't want you no more, baby, don't think you to stay, tell him to go ahead about your business, because you got a good job too. The next man gonna think you something special. If you want this car, man, I'm gonna have to fight you for this car. Here are the keys. She shake at 55. Keep it. I don't have to get, man. Before you pull off, I'm gonna be on the phone with the insurance and, hey man, pick me up. But because I have wealth and resources, certain things don't bother me like that. I'm not gonna fight you over those doggone coats.
Yeah, to make your own way. That's all anybody really wants. They want to be able to afford a car. A car is freedom. They want to be able to make sure they can get groceries or go out and buy a 6-pack of beer, whatever.
It's self-esteem that I can walk away from some things, Pears. I don't have to fight you because I'm holding on to this relationship that ain't worth holding on to, or I need some symbols of self when I walk out here, that I got to prove to somebody that I'm worth something. And it's really a reflection of my low self-esteem when you walk out. And that's why I do get into it sometimes with my school choice advocates, that education is the key. Education plays a part. But because you're asking children to do things that most times they can't, we must first start to stabilize the home. No matter how much money we give to education, if we don't stabilize the home, and this is where I get into it with some of my Democrat friends, it's not about pouring more money into the schools. If the teachers really wanted to raise, just say, I want to raise because I'm dealing with some really bad kids. I'm like, oh, yeah, my son's bad. Yep, I got you. You want to raise. Don't tell me it's for the kids. No, it's for you. And I think if you had an honest dialogue and say, you want to raise because I'm dealing with he can't deal with you, he doesn't act right with you at home, he ain't act right with me right now. I think the world taxpayer would say, you know what? She got a point.
Yeah. I look at it and I'm tired of hearing we have to put 12 months of work into 9. It's like, well, I do 15 months of work into 12. What's the difference?
There's no difference.
We all work hard.
And I think for me, I just look at myself as being a translator. A translator. They can break down both sides, because I've seen in both worlds. I went to Wauwatosa West High School, part of the 220 program. I went to Whitewater for a few years.
When'd you graduate?
93.
No, I mean, Tosa West, 87.
Oh, what's going on, Trojan? That's why I like you so much.
That the ironic part about it, my name is Paris, and I'm named after the Trojan prince who started the Trojan War in Homer's Iliad in Greek mythology. So go
figure that, brother.
Yeah, how do you love that?
It was my first time, and this is part of having like a place in which we can talk. I never knew there were so many. So when I went to Tulsa West, all white people, I know this might sound racist, looked the same to me. Until I saw the Greeks at lunchtime sitting with the Greeks. I saw the Italians, I saw the Germans and the Irish, and I said, look at this. White people ain't all white people the same. And it was an eye-opener for me because I had never seen that before. I didn't know. And then I also saw class. I saw the rich white kids sitting over here, and the working class whites over here, and the poor trash over here with me. So
hey, I was down in the lower end. My mother was disabled, so I know.
You was with me. You was cool with me, Paris. But what but it made me understand, like, man, there's even differences there. And I was part of a group that we were able to call a group, and I think it was after you left, but you may have heard about it. It was called Harmony. It was a multicultural club, and we were able to talk real free in this club about like race issues. And it was eye-opening for me because, I didn't know like white people struggle with like class. I didn't know that. I just said they all white. You supposed to make it. They was like, no, man. I'm white, but I'm poor white. I don't. You know this for me. When Tulsa West, the west side of Tulsa was the new money. East side was the old money.
Old money.
Like, what's that mean? It's all money to me. What you talking about? I'm poor, so all of them look good to me. What you mean? But if you didn't live in Tulsa, You didn't understand the battle between old money and new money. I'm like, that's crazy. Ain't it all money? Ain't it all, doing good? But yeah, it's the difference. And I didn't know that.
I think people need to have a dialogue and understand it. And I think the movement, like people, I'm talking the political wing of BLM, not the concept, but the political wing of it. They're focused on just Black people have these issues. No, everybody's got the issues, and I think we got to. The problem is nobody. It's all about I got to get mine instead of hey, let's have a dialogue to figure it out. Let's raise, Martin Luther King again, right? The rising tide lifts all boats kind of attitude, and we don't have it.
Listen, I agree that there's some things that Black people need to do, and we need to get this country look at differently, right? Mm-hmm. But you cannot have that true level of where we want to be equal and appreciated if you still got people who harbor in their hearts racist issues. So it has to be, like to your point, it has to be more than just Black people in this discussion, because you got people who in their heart, and that's why I'm not a big supporter of sensitivity training and all those training, because I'm like, if he's a racist in his heart, you're not going to train it out of him.
Exactly, and you can't legislate it out of them either. The only thing the legislation could do. And it's they talk about systemic racism and stuff like that. The system is right now. If you discriminate, if you redline, if you do that, that's actually against the law. You have to get caught first, but it's actually against the law. The issue is you have to change the hearts and minds of people, and people have to become more homogenous and everything like that, and understand that we all have problems. I've seen the world. My parents, when they were together and they had a restaurant and a construction business, we were pretty affluent. My parents got divorced. My mother was by herself. I saw the world of food stamps. And I also saw firsthand the way the whole welfare system, it was basically a drug. And you had at the beginning of every month, you had to get your fix. It was, and she just, every little government program she could latch onto, she was grabbing onto instead of trying to work her way out of it. Also, she became a ward of the state until she passed away. And it was just, and I vowed I never wanted to live like that, to be dependent on the government.
Man, a lot of Southern Blacks, I was having a discussion with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. A lot of Southern Blacks spoke and preached against the welfare state. They said it takes away your spirit as a person. They they just wanted the people to be treated equally and fairly. They wanted to work. But the welfare state, they said that that's going to kill our people. And it take the spirit away from people, the desire to achieve. And so it did that. And a lot of Southerners never liked the welfare system. They never liked it because they understood the pride of working, and it takes away all your ambition and drive. They never liked the program like that, bro. For real.
Exactly. So, well, I'm running late on time here, but I want to.
I had a good time, man.
Yeah, I love it. So I always I consider political candidates like a product, and the iPhone. I don't know if you have an iPhone, but the iPhone is the most brilliantly marketed product on the planet. Everybody knows about the iPhone, whether you have one or not. Never once did Steve Jobs ever say what the iPhone could do. It was always what you could do with the iPhone. So what can the 11th District do with you in Madison? I mean, I don't care what you could do, but what can they do with you?
Man, that's a deep question. I like how you put that. Man, we can change a lot in our district, man. I mean, I tell you this, and I said this several times. Man, we got gumbo all ready to go. All I want to do is be the spoon, just to stir it. We got like Johnson Control in the southern part of the boundary. We got Bayshore Mall. We have Brady Corporation, Hellman Titan, Stratec, all these companies hiring. And then we have a bustling low-income housing development in 3 or 4 parts of the city in the district that people are looking for work. We got land that's for sale. We have all this great mix. And what I can help do, I just want to be the spoon, Just to stir it all up because it's all right there. We on the verge of something sweet if we can just get the right person just to stir it. I just want to be that spoon that's like, oh, it's right there. Got the meat, got the seafood. It's right there. So you and me, I'll be a good spoon. Just stir it all together.
Yeah, I think we need to have. I think we need to have people that have their priorities in order. It's like, okay. So in the inner cities, they want to get $15 an hour minimum wage for working at McDonald's. It's like, okay, McDonald's was designed to be a starter job to get to learn how to work and get into the whole groove while you're in school and all that stuff. Instead of trying to make that a $15 an hour job, why not bring back the $15 an hour jobs that actually are worth that much? That's the problem. Everything leaves, so all they're left with is fast food. We need to get those companies coming back in, and that's where, I don't know, enterprise zones is the way to do it.
That's where our leadership has to be, and that's what I think I can bring to the 11th Assembly District from working with the Joseph Project. We have at least 3 companies that are looking to relocate to Milwaukee because our track record has shown and proved that we can find talent with an opportunity. And once again, I can be that translator because there needs to be somebody in, for all the things that like Frank Nitti, Vaughn Mays, Khalil Coleman, Tory Lowe, they have a term they use as community verifiers. Kind of like if they say it's okay, right? What I can bring to the table is that the Joseph Project is was like that community verifier. If we can if we can trust the Joseph Project, we'll move to Milwaukee. That's what we need now, and I can help bring it together. There's a ton of companies out there, and right now I'm not so much focused on trying to bring them to Milwaukee. I'll get you to where they need to be until we get a relationship with them, and then look at bringing them back to Milwaukee. We can't just stay stagnant and say, well, because my opponents, they need to bring the companies back to Milwaukee. That's cool. I got you. But what do they do in the meanwhile? While they waiting for the company to come? The people supposed to starve? Supposed to keep getting food stamps? Supposed to keep killing? Because everybody, is everybody so desperate? No, we find solutions. We make them work for right now. We make it work for right now. Transporting people back and forth until we can attract the company and say, hey, why don't you look at it? I got land in the 11th Assembly District waiting to be cultivated. I got the workforce right here. They want to do it. If it was me at the table, man, I would have had what was that? Strauss Meats. They wanted to come over to like Central City, the harvesting plant that a few naysayers who didn't live in the community pushed out. Man, I got some place right now. They listening. You come on over to the 11th Assembly District. I got some land for you, baby.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I got some workers for you too.
Yeah, and the land's not that expensive. That's the beautiful part about it.
And so all I'm saying is that we need somebody who can translate and be that middleman, and I can do that, man. And I hope people at 11th Assembly District give me an opportunity. I just hope and pray that you guys continue to pray for me, Paris. Continue to have me out. We only got a couple more hours before the election. I get it. And man, I'm prayerful and I'm hopeful, man, that this may be a shot that we can actually do this. And I want people also to understand this to be, I see the 50-cent tax bracket. Yeah, I saw you 50 cent. But I hope people also on the Republican side, the conservative side, give me time and space to make this work. Mm-hmm. I hear what a lot of them say, but give me some room, give me a little space. And yeah, you may have to give me sometimes the Dale Schultz treatment. Okay, it's the district government. Give me a little Dale Schultz sometime. We're gonna be okay though. But I can move the people though. Give me in, and I'm asking this on both sides. Republicans, give me some space. Democrats, give me a space. I can find a middle ground and make it work. Just trust me. Give me a shot.
Yep, and I think you got to swing hard at the ball in case you hit it, because I think remember, Trump wasn't supposed to win in 2016 either. Right. Quite frankly, Tony Evers wasn't supposed to win either, but that's what we're stuck with. But this is Sandra makes an excellent point. So trade schools back where you teach nursing, plumbing. People need to learn their trade, learn a skill.
Listen to me, Paris. This is why the 11th district is so special, man. We got Job Corps on 60th, bruh. We got a Job Corps.
Awesome. Well, did that come out of W-2 at the time,
No,
or
Job Corps. So the Job Corps is a federal program. So the Job
okay?
Corps came out of, it's a federal program. But we got one right on like 60th or 65th and like Good Hope. They treat nursing, manufacturing. It's all here.
Nice.
I'm telling you, if the 11th Assembly District gives me a shot, baby.
And I walk with you on that. So, well, keep me posted on everything that's going on. And
if you can make it tomorrow, it'll be great to see you there. If not, I understand. But if you can make it to the press conference, it'll be great to see you.
What time is it at?
It's going to be at 10.
We're at
10 at the MLK office in Milwaukee.
On third Martin Luther King Avenue, and
right.
like South and North Avenue.
The chairman here will be there. Lieutenant Governor Clayfish will be there, and hopefully all of the candidates will be there. Hopefully all the news will be there. We want to make this a discussion piece. Like people in Milwaukee need to know. Like these don't want to even debate in front of y'all to see what's really going on, because they want to keep people in the dark. They don't want their records to be exposed. That you are a failed leadership. You cannot negotiate with Republicans. I told some people, believe what the Democrats are saying. They'll say when they get elected, they'll say, well, we couldn't get done because them Republicans. I'm a Republican. Believe what the Democrats told you. I can get some stuff done.
Just promise me one thing, though.
Okay.
You get elected, and in January you're sitting in Madison. Screw this freshman bull crap. You're there to do something. I want you to work. And I've said this to every other candidate that I've talked to or helped or whatever. You need to go there to work to get something done. Don't just be a backbencher freshman who doesn't do anything because they haven't had a chance to, move up the chain and all that. No, from day one, you got to work.
Well, with the Speaker's Task Force, I'm not on the task force, but let's call me a quasi, local observer that gives the task force advice. I'm a special advisor to the task force. Mm-hmm. And I'm very clear to the Republicans, like you said, we have work to do. I have a very short window that the people will not be patient with me very long at all. And so we have to know that I have to swing for the fences, and we got to get this stuff done. And I think the task force will be a great apparatus as a freshman to get it done. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't have time we got to get this stuff done. And I believe we can. I believe we have the will to get it done, and I could help in that facilitation of getting that done. And so I'm swinging for the fist. I'm not gonna sit down. Hey, Tracy, that's a good guy too. Good guy over in West Allis. Yep. But yeah, I'm swinging for the fence. I'm with you. So that's a promise, brother. Promise made and promise kept. I'm working butt off, man. I gotta get this work done. I don't have time to wait.
I'm gonna hold you to it, and I'll make sure that you have enough force to help you get the word out and stuff like that. We will all give you a voice, because regardless, you need a voice, and we got to figure that out. So let's see where things land on November 3rd.
When I do win, you be one of the first interviews I get from the Capitol. We'll do this again from the Capitol.
Awesome.
You're gonna have access, baby.
Yep. I love it. Got connections. All right, my friend. It was good to see you tonight. Good luck. Our prayers are all with you, and keep up the fight. All right. Talk to you later, Orlando. All right, that was Orlando Owens in the 11th Congressional or 11th Assembly District. I'm promoting him already. 11th Assembly District in Milwaukee. Check him out, Orlando Owens. Oh, wait, I got to bring him back on. Orlando, I'll bring you back on for a second. Are you there?
I am.
Okay, had to bring you back on. Why? Because you got to tell people where to find you.
Okay. You can find me on Facebook. Orlando Owens for Wisconsin State Representative, or you can also go to my website. It's www.orlandoforwi.com. Orlando, the word F4 and the initial WI for Wisconsin.com. Go there, check me out. I got some cool. Hey, you see my commercial? It's pretty cool, man. I got a lot of people say the commercial is pretty cool. Yep. So check me out, man. Pray for me. Pray for me, man. Pray for the win. Pray that I, to stay where I need to be, man. As a person of faith, man, I need support and prayer, man, because it's going to be tough. And I believe God has something for us, man, in a couple more days. That I believe this could be it. And I'm hoping and praying that this will turn around and people say, I like that dude. I'm gonna give him a shot.
Yep. And this is, I've got this, I created this a little while back, and it's kind of the difference between liberals and conservatives on equality. Liberals think we should all be equal at the finish line, and that's socialism and tyranny. Conservatives think we should all be equal at the starting line. That's capitalism and liberty. And
I
that's
like that, brother.
Yep. Yeah. It's up to you to make a life.
I like that. Let's be equal from the start. I like that, bro.
Yeah, like the Constitution says, that it's you have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
You don't have a right to happiness. You got to make your happiness.
Right.
That's so. All right. So now I'll say goodbye. So we'll talk to you later, Orlando. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye. All right. So that was Orlando Oilians once again, 11th Assembly District in Milwaukee. Let me just see if there's any more comments here. Badass from the Capitol. Yes, I love it. That should be a slogan. Badass for the Capitol. So, all right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate y'all. And if you could please make sure to follow me on Twitter, make sure to like and share my YouTube stream, because all these are recorded to YouTube as well. Please share everything, anything you can. This helps me out, helps me grow, so I can have a bigger voice, a bigger bully pulpit. And people are watching this, and it's interesting. I get people all the time say, "Hey, I watch your podcast." Not a lot of people comment, but I get people that catch me, including elected officials too. So, including a congressman who's caught my show too, and they mentioned it to me. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you all and all your support. And thank you so much for joining me. Remember, we got a lot of work to do now between now and Election Day. No matter where you are. Every Republican local candidate, assembly, state senate, everybody's important. It all goes up the chain to President Trump, which President Trump, he's not perfect. He's a Queens, New York loudmouth, but you know what? He's doing things that other politicians haven't done, like the criminal justice reform, like the fact he invited families of people whose son or daughter or brother or sister was killed in a police incident. He brought them in. He didn't ask them, well, was it justified? Was it not? No, he brought them in and he listened. I think that's what we need. We need more politicians who will listen. So I want to give, President Trump another 4 years, hopefully. And yeah, we don't want Kamala Harris as president, and she will be president, especially now that Joe Biden is compromised by his son. Now they can hold, ransom money against him and stuff like that, or, blackmail money. So he is compromised. He will not be president for long. They will remove him from office. And that's why, because not even Nancy Pelosi wants Joe Biden. Remember that. So support President Trump. Like I said, he's not perfect, but he's what we got. And he's fighting for us. He's out there doing 2-3 rallies every single day, crisscrossing across the country. He was in Michigan, came to Janesville, Wisconsin. I was there at the rally in Janesville, Wisconsin. The energy was amazing out there. And then immediately got back on a plane and went to Las Vegas for another rally. So he's out there working it. If he's working it, we can work it. Also, there's some Trump rally back the blue rallies in West Dallas on Highway 100 National this coming Saturday, this coming Sunday, 1 to 4. And also the following week on the 31st and the 1st, 1 to 4, Saturday, Sunday again. Go out there with your Trump signs, your the blue signs, your favorite assemblyman sign or Senate sign or anything like that. Get out there. All right, everybody, have an awesome night. I will talk to you soon. Bye.